Welcome back, everybody. This week on Mountain Lodge Outdoors, it's all about putting meat in the freezer. Now, this first hunt that you're gonna watch, I've got some mixed emotions about. Things didn't go as I planned, and it was just a little bit off from the very beginning. I had access to a bigger piece of land that I couldn't get to that first week, so I hunted the smaller piece where I knew the deer weren't traveling through that area early season, and we ended up having to put some corn out and a little bit of bone hog mineral. We did draw them into the area after a couple of weeks and started getting some pictures on the covert cam. I had a plan for early season as to what I wanted to harvest, and things didn't go exactly as I wanted. In the confusion of and excitement of the first self-filmed deer hunt, I got on the wrong deer. But we always said we were going to show you real hunting here at Mountain Lodge Outdoors, and sometimes you make mistakes. So this is one of those times.
Down right over there. Ain't the biggest deer in the woods, but that's meat in the freezer. Whew.
We're meat hunters. Doesn't have to be wall worthy. Put an arrow through it and fill your freezer up. Too many guys out there apologizing for the size deer they shoot, when for the most part what we do is for food, not for trophies or bragging rights. Feed our families and keep the freezer full. We're not going to get this whole thing butchered tonight just because I got to work tomorrow and I don't feel like staying up all night. But what we are going to do, we're going to get it skinned out, quarter it up. I got ice over there in the Frio. We're going to load it in the Frio and just let it stay in the ice overnight. The cooler will have no problem keeping this deer meat good till tomorrow when I get off work and I can come home and pull the quarters out and get it butchered the rest of the way. Part of why we do this stuff ourselves is to save the money that you go spend on meat. And when you're butchering them yourselves, you're saving a processing fee. You know how the meat's being handled. I know this is going straight to ice. Took it straight out of the field. There's no guesswork as to where your food's coming from. And that's a big part of hunting. This thing was eaten as naturally as it possibly could. Now you guys haven't met Thigh Bone Jimmy yet, but this is for Thigh Bone. You see this area right here, when you're up in the stand and it's aiming down,
See that right there? There's lungs behind here. Okay? Now, lungs behind there. This is not where the lungs are, Jimmy. Okay, I just wanted to make that clear. I mean, now there is one artery in here. You gotta be a darn good shot to hit it. And Jimmy's got a special set of skills that allow him to do that on things as small as a turkey. But ideally, this is what we're going for. This general area right here, you know, the one the size of a pie plate, try and hit that next time. Now we're gonna finish quartering this out so we can get it on some ice till I can finish butchering it tomorrow. And the deer's body will pretty much tell you where to cut. It just opens right up here. It gives you that good opening, and you just follow that contour. See, it just gives right there. And then there's a shoulder blade back there. And you just follow behind that. There's your front quarter. My brother-in-law showed me how to do that. I'd never butchered one before until my second, or I think it was my third bow kill. He helped me string it up in the tree there, and he got the first part done and handed it over to me, and I did the second one. And now I do all mine. Now this one's a little different.
Now keep in mind, it was early season, and that's the first deer I've ever harvested on camera. So I was a little bit excited. But now we're gonna head down to Southern Ohio. We're gonna hit Petro Camp. We're gonna skip a little bit ahead in the season. This is the first week in November, and all of us got together down there and kind of spread out and went out to try and put a little bit more meat in the freezer. We'll see what happens.
Alright, so just shot a doe. It's a good shot. Had about 6 of them here. Probably for about 10-15 minutes hanging around eating that bone hog. And was debating whether to take one today or not. We got all our whole crew down here from Mount Lodge Outdoors. Super excited. Ran about 20 yards back and I heard it fall, so I'm looking forward to adding some meat to our freezer, and let's go find it.
Oh, there's a property line.
Oh my gosh, that's our property line.
She's a pig too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nice doe.
Absolutely, baby. Good job.
Oh, well, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Now, question for you.
Thank you, Mountain Lodge Outdoors. So here we got our big doe. She's coming in, and actually came in with five other does, and hung around on that bone hog for, gosh, 10-15 minutes, and I was debating whether to take her or wait for a buck to come around. And early enough, Rhett's just about to hit here, and figure get some meat in the freezer and do that part first. And then now I'm ready to got my meat out of the way, and then I'll have my big buck on my mind since my freezer's full.
This segment brought to you by K&D's Camo Connection, your one-stop shop for all things outdoors. Well, it turned out to be a great weekend at the Petro camp. Tom dropped a big buck the day before. Fallon cashed in on that huge doe, and the footage they came up with was great. Now, Copper headed out the same day down to his Southern Ohio spot. I couldn't meet up with him for another 3 days, but when I got down there, we climbed in the trees and we went after him. Southern Ohio started off slow. Only a few deer passing off in the distance made for a pretty long day. The wind was blowing. It was kind of chilly, but the weather really wasn't cooperating the way we had hoped. But something was telling us that if we stuck around, we weathered the storm a little bit, passed the time and get through the boredom, it was going to produce. Copper had been down here years and years in the past. He knew how this spot was going to react, how things were going to unfold. So we saddled in, got the lunches out in the middle of the day, and made the long 13-hour set. But we didn't have any idea what day 2 was going to have in store for us. Well, to say the least, that first day was a long one. Those all-day sits, daylight to dark, without coming out of the tree, they take their toll, especially when you're not seeing a lot of deer. But the second day, we got back out there, high hopes. The weather was a lot better. Wind wasn't blowing as bad. Climbed up in the trees, and it didn't take long. I mean, come up about 9:30, first buck showed up, and it didn't stop the rest of the day. This first buck came in like he didn't have a care in the world. He just walked up the hill, kind of looked around a little bit, and kept cruising through. He didn't act spooked. He really wasn't being aggressive there right off the bat. And just when we thought he was done with us and he was starting to move out, one little grunt and got his attention again and kind of put us back in business. once he turned, came back into the area, he didn't do a whole lot other than stomp around and give it a once over. And once he didn't see another buck, he kind of decided he was leaving the area and moved on up the hill. Never really presented a shot. He stayed up in the thick, but he didn't alert to us. He didn't have any idea we were there, but he didn't see what he wanted to see either. It didn't take long. Once he was out of the area, all that commotion stirred up another buck, and within 30 to 40 minutes, we had another one coming through that was a little more aggressive than the first. Now, there was no two ways about it. This little buck just flat out busted us. I barely got the camera turned on, and as soon as he topped the hill, it was like he had a sixth sense and knew exactly where both of us were. So after a little bit of a waiting game, he turned around and headed on over the hill. But unfortunately, he wasn't going to be the last buck of the day to get the drop on us.
He was under me, wasn't he? Was he under me? Oh my God. Was that a monster that went up the hill too? I don't know if I even got him on camera. I was so afraid to move. I just turned and pointed that way. Dude, that was wild. Oh, that was nice, dear. Hey. Clapper.
Unfortunately, after that second day in the woods surrounded by huge deer, none of them presented an ethical shot for copper. There's just more cover than it really looks like there. It gets pretty thick and nasty in a couple places, and those deer know that. They stick to the places they feel safe, and they just never presented a shot. So we came down out of the stand that evening, feeling good about what we had seen, but feeling kind of bad because we never got to put an arrow through anything. And we decided we'd put another half day in that third day before we rolled out and see if we couldn't close the deal. It came down to the wire. From all of us at Mountain Lodge Outdoors, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Stay safe, shoot straight. We'll see you next time.